There we go. I think I should be good. All right, everybody. Got to double check to see if everything is going. Hope everybody's liking the Shock Week so far, or Shock Week so far. Just gonna make sure I am actually live. So we had today's events were pretty cool. We had Megan Hayes first thing in the morning, and I hope you enjoyed that session. Where we got some chats going on. There we go. I don't think you love the name, Homer. I don't see you in the room, Robert. Hopefully you've got the right link. Hopefully you have the right link. I am going to resend it to you. Make sure you're not using the link from yesterday. This is Shock Week Day 2. I will send you another link here. E-classes. I'll say Shock Week Day 2 review. Just to give you the latest link. So, Omar, thank you for joining in. And David's on his way. There we go. And there's Nihad. How's it going, Nihad?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. And we got Robert's got his green shirt on again.
Yeah, I was using the same link as yesterday. Sorry.
I figured that.
Hey, Nihad.
Robert, how are you?
Good. Have you been reminded today of what a great job you do and how much you're appreciated for all you do?
You talk about Tom, right? You're not talking to me.
Yeah, I'm talking to you, Nihad. Yeah.
I don't know if I do a good job. He is the one who's doing a great job.
I think you were breaking up.
I'm breaking up.
Doing an excellent job. Hey, the guy from the one on the emotional stability was pretty cool, Tom. Hey,
I'm
David.
having a little bit of difficulty,
Greetings,
guys.
exalted ones.
Exalted ones.
Yeah. Did you say who's breaking up, Tom? Am I breaking up or?
Tom's looking a little fuzzy. Just a little bit. To me, anyways.
Can you guys hear me?
David, do you know what Clint Eastwood looks like?
I can hear you. I can hear you, Tom.
David, do you know what Clint Eastwood looks like?
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, Tom doesn't look anything like that. Just thought I'd let you know. You're supposed to say, yeah, I know what Clint Eastwood looks like, and then I would say, Tom doesn't look
are
anything
you guys?
like that.
Oh, shoot. Oh, sorry.
Pew! Sorry.
Everybody's coming through, and it's very choppy for me. I can't hear anybody.
Uh-oh.
Nihad, can you see myself and David okay?
I think says, oops.
I can see. Yeah, I can see you guys clearly. Even Tom. Oh, guess we lost.
Oh, I'm by myself. Hello, everybody. How did you all enjoy today's Shock Week? Let's see here. Let's go over the.
It went
All
well.
All right. So I think I'm back. Are you guys all there?
I hear you. You hear
Yeah,
me?
I was able to hear you, Tom.
You guys can't hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you, Tom.
We hear you. Yes, my master.
I can't. This isn't working for me. Yeah, everybody's digital. I can't hear a thing. It's not working. You guys are all frozen. And it's got to be my internet. I don't know. I'm looking good, but I don't know if it's my internet or what. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
I guess not.
We can see.
No, we can hear you.
Okay. Can't hear me. All right. Can you see me? Shoot. I'm going to have to relocate. Dadgummit. Hold on. Hey, Robert.
We can hear and see you.
Oh, you can hear and see me?
Yep, we can hear and see you, but you're just a little, I don't know, when you adjusted everybody, you just got a little, it's just a little fuzzy, not bad, but we can hear and see you just fine.
Yeah, but I can't. Everybody's frozen on my side, so it's got to be my connection.
So should we all go out and come back in again?
I think I have to move to a different location. I got to go downstairs. What time is it?
Oh,
It's
it's
7:05.
6:05 or 7:05. We'll wait
All right.
for you.
All right, I'm going to do that.
All right, thanks.
See ya. Bye.
He's gonna move to downstairs
All right.
for a better
I'll
connection.
take myself out. Dadgummit.
Okay.
I'm in my reading right now. It's okay.
Should we wait? Yeah.
Yeah, he said he's gonna go downstairs and redo the connection down there.
Yeah. I could hear him well.
Yeah, I told him on the phone, I said we could hear and see him just fine, but he said we were all pros.
Yeah. So I texted him. I don't know, but I guess there's a comment here from Omar Moran.
There's what?
That hear us. But there's a comment from someone from YouTube. It said I can clearly see everyone and voices are.
Yeah. Well, he said usually he said he's downstairs in the basement. He was upstairs, so I don't.
I know, but my point is, I don't know if you're reading the comments on the right hand side.
Yeah.
Omar saying that he can see us clearly and can hear our voices. So, and this is coming through YouTube, I believe. So I don't know why. It could be Tom, but life is going well.
Electronics are great when they work.
Yeah, like says someone here saying that he can see us and he can hear us clearly.
Yeah.
Not sure what's going on.
So are you up in Canada, Nihad?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Are you still in Saskatoon?
Yes.
Saskatoon.
Grown up movies. I don't know if you ever met Larry Air, but Larry Air, every time he sees me, it's like Saskatoon.
Yeah.
A running joke between so every time I see Larry Air at the NFPA events.
Like a puck.
Saskatoon.
There's a bunch of stuff. It's like 96 and Kia. I'll bring it down.
A nice city. I don't know if you've ever been that far north, but it's you're in Florida, right? So this is very low for you.
Yeah, I'm Southwest Florida. 100 miles due west of Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, well, I will be in Orlando twice this year.
I wish I can be in Orlando for the NFPA conference, but I can't get no support.
Yeah, so Tom and I will be there. So we have the NFPA meeting.
When is that, Nihad?
Sorry?
When is it?
When is it? It's February 14th. Was it? Let me check the dates. It's the week of not the next weekend, the week after. So in June, check the dates. So it's the week of the 10th. No, sorry, the week of the 17th. 10th I'm going. Yeah, so June 17th, whatever it is.
David, I was down in Ulita, Florida for 2.5 months after Maria came through doing disaster relief.
Where in Florida?
Ulita. I stayed in Miami Gardens, Opelika. Spent 2.5 months down there driving up and down the road in my Murano with a 12-foot ladder strapped to my luggage rack, safing off the overhead services suiting up and safing up the overhead services for roofing individuals so that overhead services weren't,
Right.
exposed. Saw a lot of stuff coming out, a lot of cables coming out of weatherheads for the ungrounded and grounded conductors. About an inch from the weatherhead, there was just bare. If the wind would have blown, they could have melted together in a heartbeat.
Hmm.
It was just unbelievable.
Well, if the infrastructure's down, then you're not going to get that then,
Yeah.
quite honestly.
Yeah, well, they had that they still had the power and stuff onto the buildings. We were safing that off because the roofers were up there and it was unsafe for them. Those weatherheads re-roofing.
I didn't think Maria affected the east coast of Florida.
Mm-hmm. It did.
I know. I thought. Oh, Wilma. I think Wilma went in 2005 when Wilma came through. Yeah, she did more damage at the east coast than she did on our coast.
Yeah.
Irma.
Yeah, I was 2.5 months in Miami down there.
You sure it wasn't after Irma? Because Irma was the same year.
2018.
No, Maria was 17
Yeah. So when I was down there,
with Irma.
2018, I was in Puerto Rico right after that.
Yeah, yeah. Maria.
2017 was when I was in Miami for 2.5 months.
Yeah, Maria devastated Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Yeah, we well, Irma was the first eye of the hurricane that I've ever experienced, and I don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
It came right up, and it came right up. Well, yeah, yeah.
I have a lot of friends in Florida, and I just can't see myself living there. You guys like all these hurricanes all the time, and
It's
I had
hot.
friends where the houses got flooded, and yeah, in the summertime it's very hot.
Yes, yeah, and it's hot now. It's in the weatherman today said it's going to be in the upper 90s tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
There he is.
Mr. Tom Dom.
it's just like Cairo, and that's the reason I left. I told my friends I moved to Canada for a reason.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm a transplant from Detroit.
Oh, so you're the cold one.
Yeah. I first 13 and a half years of my life were in Detroit. My dad was a tool maker up there. He almost suffered a second nervous breakdown. He always worked on the house. He put 2 additions on the house while I was still a kid, and I learned a bit about, how to build a house. He can do it all. And that's what got me basically into the electrical trade after 3 months of chasing nails to pound after opening up the Ritz-Carlton on the beach here in Naples. As a pre-finished trim carpenter, I helped put the roof on that place.
Oh, wow.
And then I was hungry 3 months. And so I became an electrician, and knock on wood, I haven't had to look for a job since. That was February of '86 when I became an electrician. Worked for the same company until I went to work for the jurisdiction I'm at now. In January 10th of 2000 was my first day.
Anybody hear me?
We can.
Ah, I'm back. Okay, I'm back.
No, you're front,
hear
not your back.
All right. You can't hear me? Shoot.
No.
What did I do wrong?
No, we hear you.
Good.
You're fine.
I thought you said you couldn't hear me. So you can hear me?
Yes.
Perfect.
Well,
Hey, and I got all right. Hold on, Mihad. I got Vince coming on. Vince Barlow's going to come on. He's the author from today. Hey, Vince.
Hello. How you guys doing?
Hey,
Good.
Pretty good.
Nice job today, Vince.
Thank you. Thank you. And David, I heard you talking about South Florida. I lived in Marco Island for a while, so we were neighbors.
Okay.
So you in Naples?
Yes. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Golden Gate City.
Yeah. Yep.
Only residents of Golden Gate City can call it the Golden Ghetto.
Oh,
But I've been in this house. I drew the plans for this house and had it built. It was like 2 months. It took the contractor to build this house. My birthday of '89, November 13th of '89, we did the final signing, and then January of 1990 we closed, and I
that's
got
cool.
to move in. So I've been here ever since.
Yes.
I've seen
Awesome.
a lot. I've watched Andrew that got the Florida Building Code initiated. It devastated
Yeah.
Homestead.
Sure did. Sure did. All right. So we got the whole crew here. Vince, you're moving today, aren't you?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Perfect. So you're packing. You're packing
Yes,
today.
all
So
packed.
I gave you a reason to not pack.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. So yeah, we had a good session today. I know I enjoyed putting it together. So and sounds like Robert, you had watched through it.
Mm-hmm.
Any good insights? Any good comments about the program today?
Oh, just awesome common sense. And I appreciated the fact that most of us don't know how to deal with feelings. I grew up with a father and a grandfather that, they didn't want to talk to you. They let you know immediately.
Yeah.
And feelings were persistent.
Yes. Yeah.
And you can not escalating the situation.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of a proverb in an ancient book that says grabbing the ears of a dog is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Or the other one, an answer when mild turns away rage.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's simple things like that you brought out that most people aren't. They're taught that you're a coward if you say that. Well, it takes more strength to walk away from a fight than it does.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and I had a problem, Vince, getting in. My internet upstairs, for some reason, it was breaking up. So I was like, I actually grabbed my camera, my computer. I unplugged everything. You ought to see me coming down the stairs. I had wires everywhere.
Good thing you're in the electrical business.
I know, yeah. But
we could hear you, and even there's a comment here from YouTube saying that we were coming through clearly. So I don't know. I guess you were getting some issues, but we couldn't see it.
yeah, I couldn't hear anybody. It was all locked up.
So Vince, what he did was he humbled himself and came from his high echelon down to the basement.
Right.
He went low. That's good. Good job, Tommy.
I went to the basement for you guys.
There you go.
Well, you would think the internet upstairs should be better than the basement, but I guess
Yeah.
Yeah,
Other way.
I don't have a hard wire up there, so I have a hard LAN here. But so Vince, your session to me, I don't know what, I haven't looked at the comments yet online and whatnot, but I tried to convey it, and I know you and I had talked about it, and if you watch the other videos that we did, like with Dan Carnevale and with Wes Wheeler and I did the dynamic risk assessment, which I think his isn't showing until tomorrow. Yeah, but and you and I talked about it, Vince, that when you have these issues in the field, sometimes it's the personalities that take over. It's it's how do you handle high pressure, tense situations. Those are the challenging times when the true you shows out, and if you don't discipline that, it's hard to control and manage.
Well, Tom, we talked about it. And for you guys, might have heard me say it. My dad was an electrical engineer, so but he did have a capacity problem. He was calm about 80% of the time, and 20% of the time he was a raving lunatic. and that's just the way it was. But when he went over his threshold, he never knew how to control himself. And a lot of you guys, I'm sure we were raised in similar situations where that happened. And the work I do is I get hired a lot at companies where people are super smart, but they just don't play well with others sometimes.
Yeah.
And I try to teach them how to grow capacity and be able to handle more. So
You had, if I might, Vince, you had one experience, or whatever you were talking about, which trying to view things from a different perspective. Have you ever heard the one where you're riding on a subway train in a busy city, and all of a sudden a stop, and a guy with his kids gets on, and the kids are just bouncing off the walls, and the guy's just sitting and just kind of staring off into space, and the kids are just running all over the place. And you're beginning to say to this guy, think about this guy, why don't you control your kids? What's wrong with you? Don't you see what they're doing? And then all of a sudden you go up and say something to him, and he looks up and he goes, oh, I'm sorry. About 2 hours ago, the kids just lost their mother. They don't know how to deal with it, and I don't think I know how either. Where your feelings change immediately, right? From super upset. And if we can just do that with ourselves and observe a situation, where's that all coming from?
Yeah, exactly. You're right. We never consider what might have triggered it. So, no, that's good.
Yeah, and it's like, it's like you say, it's putting yourself in someone else's shoes.
Yeah,
it's easy to criticize. It's easy to cast blame and all this other good stuff, but you've got to look at the other person to say, look, you don't know what's going on in that person's life, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
People don't know what's sitting in these shoes, and then you show up on a job site, and maybe you have or even at work, it doesn't matter, or even in your personal life, you have maybe you're short in a response, or you have low patience today, and then it's like, look, you got to have that radar's got to go off to say, maybe it's okay, and you give that person a little bit of benefit of the doubt, so to speak, unless it's like you're a habitual, just, hey, this guy's a real pain in the rear end, just in general. They're out there.
The tricky part, though, Tom, is when let's imagine we're in a car with the driver who's in that state.
Yeah.
So now we're in a life and death situation with someone who's not in control, but they have the steering wheel.
They're not in control.
That's what hit me when Tommy and I were talking about some of the electrical situations, is like, oh, wow. These are life and death situations.
Yeah.
And if a person's maybe, like what you said, had a terrible day or something happened, but they still come to work, how do we help those people? How do we,
how do you manage it?
Lose it.
Yeah.
Well, that guy that stood firm for not turning the breaker back on, even though the boss said, and put him through the mill. And how do you, he knew, but how do you suppose the boss felt when he saw that the guy was hurt up there? And if you'd turned that breaker on, you would have killed somebody. And that's what nobody thinks about. I'm going to plagiarize that from you and put in my classes when I'm talking to people, because those scenarios are real life scenarios to people. The workers are faced all the time with, well, we can't shut it down because that would mean paying overtime type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And, Wes Wheeler shared, and I think it's in his video tomorrow, but he shared an experience where he was on a job site, and it was a part of his program, and it's the ever-changing safety plan or risk assessment, right? So, Vince, whenever we go on a job site, and it's just like anything, you look at your car, and you're going to get in your car, you sort of walk around it, you say, okay, I know it's in working order, I know I got a full tank of gas. So you buckle your seatbelt, and then you get on the road, and then all of a sudden something happens. Something gets introduced that's different. And in his case, he was behind a piece of equipment, medium voltage piece of equipment, I believe, and they were working on energized parts, and they're all dressed in moon suits, so to speak. We call it personal protective equipment, and they've got the hood on, the whole bit. And he turns around, and his boss, it was his manager, comes walking down behind the equipment. Now, he had to turn around and tell him to get out.
Yeah.
And he had to be stern, okay? And he didn't have time to explain the situation. He just basically had to direct him to get out of the area.
Yeah.
And then he said, I'll explain it to you later. And then he left. So now what Wes did not share, and I know it had to have been going through his mind, if your boss came on the job site and you just had to rip him another one just to get him out of a dangerous zone, and then you got to go back in to work.
Yeah.
Do you think his mind is on, did I just tick him off? You know what I'm saying? Is your mind 100% into what you're doing at that point? You know, that's the challenge that a lot of our electrical workers have, is to try to keep focused.
Well, and that's why, training for those scenarios, there's nothing wrong with that, rather than trying to deal with them when you're in the scenario. Have mock-ups like that. If the guy was in any other type of situation, life and death situation, you wouldn't care about what you said or how you said to him. Just get out of there. That would be the last thing. But to your point, in a job situation, that might cause us to feel a little differently. So do we practice those when we're not in those situations? What do we do in these kinds of instances where we have control over it?
Yeah.
Before that happens.
Yeah.
How do you train for something like that, though?
You just practice. You set up scenarios as part of your job box in the morning when you're talking to people. Okay.
So you discuss.
It's a mock-up type of thing. It's like when you're practicing scrimmage in football, or you practice for different things before you get in. They send people to boot camp before they send them into war. What's the difference?
Right.
They train under controlled conditions, like what they're going to find in the war, so that they're prepared a little bit for the shock of actually doing it, type of thing.
But I got to tell you, I mean, I was at work during the live during the presentation or whatnot, and I'm grateful that it is available on demand, because I'm going to have to listen to it again.
Yeah.
Because there was awesome information, even though Vince got a little colorful with some of his language.
That's okay, David. Vince said to us today that we could say that to him.
Well, to be honest with you, the word ass is in the Bible.
Okay.
But frickin', I don't know about that one.
Oh, that's a shortcut. That's a shortcut.
Yeah, I
Those
hear
are
you.
permitted.
I mean, that just shows it just shows how deeply you're into what you're talking about, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really bad when your grandson at 10 years old, you show him the sign that says African elephant, and you ask him what he is, he goes, freaking African elephant.
It's an African elephant.
Whoops.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, there's so many. To answer, I think too, David. I think if we helped individuals, if we helped our employees get better in tune with emotional intelligence, that self-awareness. I don't know, Vince, is that another term? Is self-awareness and emotional intelligence synonymous with each other?
No, so self-awareness is one of the elements of emotional intelligence. At least that's the way the assessment goes. So self-awareness is the first 3 areas of, there's 15 areas in EQ. Self-awareness is the first thing. So I think I shared a little bit. I'm not sure, Tom, if we talked about it, but let's say I'm a fear-based person. And all my life, maybe I was raised in, kind of a more fearful setting. I do things out of fear. And so my responses are more fear-based, where some people who are more confident and they weren't raised in that, they're a little calmer in their decision making. So it's interesting when we understand self-awareness. Oh, yeah. And for me, I was raised, because my dad was a little bit of a rager, and I loved him, but I have what I call being hyper vigilant. I spent my life scanning the room all the time. Like, anytime I raised a hand, it's like, is that for me? And and so it makes some people more, we react out of fear versus, and what my growth has been, how do I calm myself down? And, David, you brought it up. Like, how do we learn that? I had to really train myself to stop just moving out of fear and get a calm center. And so I think that's where that self-awareness comes in, is like, if I'm driving this bus, I better really deal with the fact that I've got to find to be a calm person, that whatever comes at me is not going to throw me off.
Right.
And so, that's what I love about emotional intelligence. But self-awareness, that first part of like, why do I do what I do?
Yeah.
It's very fascinating to me.
So with the count to 10 before you answer anything, is that the good rule of thumb?
Yeah. You know what, and even kind of like that, Robert, but what I have certain phrases. So I realized I had certain things in my head that I just that were fear-based thoughts that were always, I just thought they were normal. And so I had to kind of replace them. Like you said, it's counting to 10, but it was more than that. Every day I would just have certain things. I kind of replaced my foundation with some core different thoughts about being still.
Yeah.
Like not allowing myself to get spun by what was outside of me. And that was the thing that hit me when Tom and I were talking. So let's imagine you're in that situation, like that guy, the president's here yelling, all this chaos is going on.
Just sit back and take it all in. And
that's right.
And
how do you get that calm? So you're the one driving the bus.
Yeah.
And I'm in charge. I can't let the screaming and whatever. It's like I had to really practice not letting the tornado swirling around me get me off course. And back to what you said, David, I think that's the hardest part of training, is getting people to stay calm, even when a high power person is telling them, turn that switch on right now.
And I think I think the people that you work with, your bosses, would be a good. Oh man, why am I at a loss for words? Would be a good example.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To if you're a good, I've had some good bosses.
Yeah.
And there was one boss I actually got loud with, and he only lasted a year and a half. But if you're, and then learn from them. But the thing is that like you said, you got to learn to. I need to learn to chill out sometimes.
Yeah.
I seem to have a nervous disorder or whatnot, and when people sneak up on me, I tend to freak out. I just go, whoa, what
yeah.
the hell,
yeah.
And I don't know. I've been seeing neurologists all my life, but
I think it's a matter of, like you said, it's a self-discipline.
Yeah.
And it's awareness. But do you think that sometimes it may come across as passive aggressive? That you're calm and it's irritating me. That could irritate somebody. If somebody's really upset at you and you take the very calm approach, that could actually be irritating to someone.
And you know what? That's up to them.
That's true. That's true.
Because your job is to be unshakable. Think of all the people in your life that you ever rode in their car and you thought, oh my gosh, I hope this ride ends soon. There's an old joke that said, I want to die in my sleep like my grandfather, not like the people screaming in the back of his car. And so, yeah, my grandfather, it was nice. He died in his sleep, but he was driving.
That's right.
All the screaming people were in the back seat. So all I'm saying is think about every chance you get, when you get to be in that driver's seat, think about how to settle things. I shared this with Tom. Part of my career before doing this, my daughters were in a rock band. We toured the country. We had a tour bus, and I would hire drivers. And we had to drive from midnight till 8 in the morning. We had to sleep and get our rest while we're driving. And so think about the drivers I had to hire. And sometimes I would hire a driver that treated us like we were box freight. And he would slam on his brakes and he would change lanes fast. And all of us, we never slept. We were in a panic. But when I found a driver that understood what it would feel like to ride in a bus,
Yeah.
they were worth double the price because we all slept and everyone felt safe. And that's the thing. And back to again what you said, David, how do we train this into people, not just to know the details, but to emotionally say, look, you're going to be in charge. There's going to be people coming against you. There's going to be chaos. Stay calm.
Stay calm.
Not let anybody push your buttons.
It's like I like to say, woosah.
Woosah. What is that? What's that one?
That's chill out, dude.
Okay. It's true. Yeah, and your self-awareness, you had self-regard, self-actualization, and then emotional self-awareness. And I think the emotional, I think the emotional self-awareness is probably the easiest, in my opinion, to understand and the hardest to do.
Yeah.
Because just the fact that it's an emotion.
Yeah.
It's sometimes very hard to control your emotions. It's like trying to tell somebody not to cry. You know,
Yeah.
You can't control it. You just you just have to know it's coming and go, okay, I'm going to exit stage left because, or I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z because I know I can't manage those emotions. So
yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
but we're all, you know, a majority of the electrical workers, I will say, are men. Okay, are male.
Yeah.
And emotional awareness is probably just not in the vocabulary of most men.
Yeah. And it's sad that we were raised in a culture where no one taught us. So think about this. We talked about it. 92% of communication is nonverbal.
Right.
92%. The rest is emotional. It's body language. It's what did I eat for breakfast? It's who yelled at me, who pulled in front of me on my way to work.
Yeah.
All those things. And no one ever taught us how to deal with what's going to come at you day after day and how to be powerful every day. No one taught us that.
No.
I learned from a World War II military dad that you hit things that make you angry, right? And so, I mean, we learned from people who weren't very emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
And so it's just interesting that if we could start teaching it, what impact, how powerful someone could be if we taught them. True power is learning. And back to the book that both David and Robert quoted, passage in the Proverbs that says, greater is a man that can control himself than one who can control a whole city.
That's it exactly. Yep.
And so
go ahead.
When we can, but no one taught us that. We didn't learn it. You know, none of these skills. And so we wonder, why do some people go ahead and flip the switch because the president of the company scared them?
Yeah.
And they knew this could be bad, but I'd rather someone die on the roof than me get yelled at by the president of the company.
Yeah. Yeah,
because we hard decisions.
You worry about the ramifications of the now, right?
Yes,
because we are a society of now. We're becoming more of a society of now. So you're in that position, and you think, you know, there's the risk of, I don't want to lose my job because there could be a lot of pressures financially.
Yes.
Right. So you might say, look, I got a wife, I got 3
Yeah.
kids, I've got a
Yeah.
child. They're all
Yeah.
dependent upon me. If I mouth off to this guy and I lose my job,
Yeah.
then I'm out, right? And then
Yeah.
the other problem that we have, for example, actual situation, one of our service individuals was on a job site. And they had just installed a bunch of equipment, a bunch of components in a switchgear. And the next step in the process was to energize the equipment. Now I know Robert knows this, and Nihad, probably David knows this as well, that the energization of equipment, now you're talking, let's say, a 3,000 amp circuit breaker, and closing that circuit breaker in equipment that you just installed or you just maintained or whatever it is you just modified, is an abnormal situation.
Yep.
So 70E, safe work practices, requires you to dress in PPE. So he's there, and they said, okay, we're going to energize this, and he's like, all right. So he gets out his bag and he starts to get his 40 cal outfit out, and the owner looked at him and said, well, what are you doing? He goes, well, I have to dress for this, and then we have to, do all the, cord off, and we've got to get everybody out of the room, and I'm going to close this. And he was like, well, just close it. It's brand new equipment. And he was like, try to explain to him that it's a hazard, that if there's a problem in there and they close into it, you could have a big explosion.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there was another electrician on site from a different company, and he said, I'll do it.
Oh.
And then my guy was like, advised him not to. He said, don't do it yet. He says he packed his stuff up and he left because he did not want to be in that room when they closed
Wow.
it. But that guy so the problem that we have in our industry is, if you're not willing to do it, someone else is going to step up to the plate and get it done.
Wow.
And they accept that risk. So that he puts even more pressure on our electricians and contractors.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to lose the order.
I have to make a confession here. I was on all day, so I didn't get a chance to watch any videos today. Sorry, guys. So,
Well, okay, I'm gonna bump you out, Nihad.
no, quiet. I'm sorry, Tom. Sorry, Vince. So I'm listening to the conversation, but I felt maybe I can jump in. I made 2 quick comments. So about it's I guess when we talked about this in one of our tutorials, I think the recent one that we did, some people are more risk takers than others. Like obviously this gentleman, the electrician, who was willing to do it. It's well, it's not a big deal. I will do it. It's like, I guess it's a man-shake kind of thing. I'm the man. I'm gonna get it done. Which is it's the wrong attitude when you're dealing with something that is life-threatening. Like if you're it's a business for sure. If you're a pilot, for example, and you can't make a decision based on I'm a good pilot, I can do it. Like you can just kill how many people, and so those kind of situations you just can't do it, because you will be hurting yourself. You'll be hurting many other people. But Vince, to your point, when you're talking, people are willing to be flip the breaker, flip the switch, and have someone else dying, not be yelled at by the president or the CEO. I believe, and I guess I can say this since I'm the only one in this group who did not grow up in in the U.S. or North America, if that matters. I was born in Cairo, Egypt. Everyone knows, for your information, Vince. You guys have known me for years. So it's cultural. Some cultures, especially, you can see this more in I guess in the East versus West kind of thing. The culture is more. I would maybe compare this to the military. Like you're kind of more, you're told that to listen to whoever is older, maybe more senior age, those kind of thing. Not everyone's like this. As I was fortunate, because my parents, when I grew up, they gave me room to make decisions, unless I'm going to do something stupid to hurt myself. But as a kid, when you're growing up, you make those kind of decisions. You get this freedom to be able to make decisions. It makes, I guess, it kind of instill this in your brain that you can make decisions. You can say, I respectfully disagree with you, Mr. Vince, because of reasons, kind of thing. But unfortunately, this is not the case. And again, sometimes it's like the military. You're told to do this. Oh, this person is higher ranking or more senior.
Yes.
Whatever. I just have to listen. He knows better, or she knows better, which is
okay. That's good. Yep.
Yeah, that's true. That is there are cultural differences there. So Vince, for your information, that Nihad, you bring up a very good point. So Vince, Nihad is he's an electrical engineer. He's got his master's. You have a master's in engineering, right?
And
Master
MBA.
and an MBA, and he's heavily involved with
I didn't
IEEE.
write the thesis for. I have a
Oh,
teacher. Never wrote the thesis, so it doesn't count. But I did all the work when I left. Before I
okay.
left.
Yeah, and he's on Code Making Panel 2 with me. He is
Okay.
he's from Egypt, from Cairo, but he lives in Saskatoon, Canada.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
and
Well, I lived
David.
here 18 years, so this has been home, pretty much.
Yeah,
Good.
and David Engelhart is he does plans. You do plan reviews, right? Primarily, David.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and you
yeah.
and you
Yeah,
know he's out of
I'm
Florida.
in the office. I have a mobility issue that the doctors predicted would happen when I was a kid, and
Okay.
had ended up getting worse and worse as I went through or whatnot. I was able to walk when I went to work for the county I work for now in 2000. So I've been with the county now for over 24 years now.
Oh, okay.
They thought back in 2005 I took a fall and they thought I was going to get hurt because I was getting worse or whatnot, and so they put me in the office, and I've been in there since then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he also does voiceovers for Darth Vader for Star
Darth
Okay.
Vader.
Yeah.
Lurch.
Lurch.
Who's Lurch? And then Arnold.
Arnold
Okay.
Schwarzenegger. Yeah. And then
I love it.
and then Robert Weber is out of Omaha, Nebraska. He teaches. He is Robert from Omaha, so that's how I call him online. And he
Okay.
teaches 70E classes and all that jazz. That's why he's got his bright green shirt on, which
Yeah.
is fading into oblivion.
Yeah,
Tom,
yeah.
I do third-party inspecting also, and I'll have to apologize. The guy that's mowing the lawn is right outside.
Oh.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that's the team that's here right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, and you guys, Vince has and you gotta. I mean, you can still buy albums of Barlow Girl. I know that. So
Yeah, they're still. My daughters are still on YouTube and stuff. They're a Christian rock band that I managed for 10 years. So back in the 90s, and so we did that, and then kind of reinvented myself and did coaching and training. So now I'm an executive coach, mostly focusing on, like I said, emotional intelligence, and again, working with executives that are super smart. They rose through the ranks, but they just don't have many people skills. And so I get assigned to work with them.
It seems like you got some sort of doctorate in psychology.
Well,
So
you know what? I learned it the hard way, David. I was from a family of 14 kids. So I thought if I could survive learning how to love 14 different people in with the same family, I guess I can get along with anybody. So training.
So it was self education.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So Vince, on the book it says with Ted Saul.
Yeah.
What's the Ted Saul connection? I don't know, who's Ted Saul.
So Ted Saul worked at Hewlett Packard. He was a friend of mine for the last 20 years. And it was funny, about 2 years ago, Ted and I were talking, and I was just telling him I really wanted to write a book. And he's like, well, let me help you, because I'm a creative. So I had my phone and I used OneNote and I would just talk and it types out. But Ted would take all my notes and put them into the form of a book. And we met every week for 18 months.
Wow.
And he was like, I'll help you do this. So we just kind of, he took my crazy creative ideas and put them into a book. And we used the Amazon book system, which is fantastic, actually. And built it that way. And it's been doing great. It was very fun getting to create a book.
Well, I'll tell you what, you and I need to talk, because myself and one other individual we're writing a technical book, and we're trying to figure out where to publish it at and all that other good stuff. But
We researched all the places, and I'm telling you, like Amazon, just like anything.
yeah,
10 years ago, did any of you think I could order something that I want and it's going to be here at my house tomorrow?
oh my goodness,
Those
Yeah.
guys figured it out.
they
I'm telling
did.
you, they've done the same thing with book. It's weird
Is that
how
right?
seamless it is.
Well,
The whole process, quite fascinating.
you've also got to be careful too, because some stuff will come from Amazon from different places. I mean, and I've heard where people would get their National Electric Code book from Amazon and be from some third party, and it would be missing pages and
Oh,
and
really?
but
That's
but
fine.
cheap too. And then
Yeah.
you know, I'm a Prime member of Amazon,
Yeah.
and I was able to get certain products cheaper at Walmart than I could at Amazon.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Yeah.
I mean, they're good. Yes,
It's convenience.
I've got a list of products that I buy on a regular basis from Amazon that I get delivered and whatnot, and I spend $150 a year for the Prime membership.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I get free delivery. So
That's right.
That's pretty good. And you built an action plan into your book. I see a lot of now it's your turn type of deal where you explain something, and there's a lot of self-searching when you're reading this to try to fit it into, to ask yourself questions with regard to those categories of self-awareness, self-expression, interpersonal decision-making, and stress management, right?
Yeah.
And I think and I know you deal with executives, but honestly, I think there's a whole world of dealing with like safety professionals. Most of these companies, large companies especially, have a safety coordinator or a safety professional or a series of them. There's one large contractor in Texas that I know that they have places across the country. And they have one individual who's in charge, and he has safety coordinators at all the different locations. And they do training. But I highly doubt they do any training like this, especially, I mean, when you think about stress management, decision making, right?
Yeah.
Those two categories alone are so in line with what electricians, contractors, design engineers, et cetera, do on a daily basis.
Yes.
You know, so, being able to running your business, it's really important and I love the title, Becoming Unshakable. That is just absolutely, did you make that up? How did you come up with Becoming Unshakable?
Well, I was just trying to find, different things. And that one just kind of, as I was chewing on different things, because what I wanted for my life was, I want to be an unshakable man. I want to be like in everything, like my commitments. I want to, if I promise somebody something, I want to follow through. But I also, like, my big thing, like I said, was realizing I had kind of this fear foundation, and I was like, I got to get rid of that. And so that's why I like the title. Yeah. I really like the picture of nothing's going to shake me up. So that's why I like about it.
Yeah. And so Omar asked the question of, there it is. What's the title of the book?
David put it up there.
Vince put it up there, and David put it up there.
So what I did was, so
go.
nobody can see that. That's a private chat. That's just with us.
Okay.
Okay.
I was going to post it on the YouTube channel, quite honestly.
So what I did was I just posted a link to Amazon.
Oh, okay.
So that'll take you straight out to Amazon.
Cool.
And the paperback paperback on Amazon is $12.49. I tell you, So Bobby Jo has been bugging me. She wants to read it too. So
Oh, good.
But I've been
And
hogging
the
it.
Kindle versions, there's Kindle and there's also an audible version. So
Well, it says audiobook is $0 with a membership trial. So
yeah,
I guess
they're offering a special on it.
well,
You
that's
can
pretty cool.
listen to it for free, I guess. If you remember.
Yeah.
So, Tom, can we say that emotional intelligence is like fault current and awareness is the available fault current?
Robert,
I'm trying to tie this.
does this
Yeah,
look like
trying to tie this back into our electrical a little bit.
does this look like an available fault current, Kurt?
No, I
No,
was just saying a
it's
similar.
a heartbeat.
It just looks like a sine wave.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I'll create
Robert,
the IEEE version, Tom, and I'll change that little thing. You send me whatever it needs to look like.
absolutely. So here's the thing, Robert.
sine wave.
So how I relate it to what we do, how I relate this topic to what we do is from a 70E and a safe work practices. It's not going to help you figure out how to calculate fault currents and things like that. It is when we teach somebody, let's talk about engineering. As an engineer, I know selective coordination. I'll use this as an example because what this does, when you use those two words to some engineers, the hair goes up on the back of their neck because they understand what selective coordination is.
They just don't know how to do it.
Right. And if they do know how to do it, they know it's not easy. Right? So what happens is you get some really good engineers saying and doing things out of emotion that don't make sense. I've been in conversations with people and then I'll show two curves or something like that, and they'll get angry at me and say that they disagree with my opinion on it, but it's an engineering. It's like trying to argue with Einstein about the theory of relativity, right? or talk to what's his name about the apple and gravity. So you sit down and go, yeah. So you say, look, I can't. All I know is how these two devices will respond to current, and it's a fact. Now you may disagree with trying to design a system that way, right? But when you have a national electrical code that says X and you don't like it, but we do Y, you expect some liability, right? And you're making a decision for your customer. And I think in many cases that's made out of emotions and not engineering direction. It's not like you're going back to the fundamentals. So just like the electrician who stood up to his boss saying, no, I'm not going to turn it on. I think as designers and engineers, when we know this is how you're supposed to do it, but I have a customer saying, I don't want you to design it that way. And you go, well, who's going to break the law? Is it going to be me? Because you're putting the pressure on me, and I'll design something the way you want me to. But you know that it's not, and then you know it's not to code, and then you put your PE stamp on it. And the moment you stamp it, you have a legal responsibility for the performance of that.
You own it.
Right. And the person who forced you, either through guilt or pressure because whatever, that person doesn't suffer the consequences. You would if somebody would be hurt. So, and I think that all has to do with becoming unshakable. It's a look, I'm not going to bend. Now, in some cases, I've told some of my salespeople will legitimately say, look, if I have an Article 700 system and I'm going to quote this job, if I quote it, this is what they'll tell me. They'll say, Tom, if I use that code book and I quote it that way, it will be more expensive than my competitor who's going to do, say, 0.1 seconds and ignore fault current, okay? And then I say, and then they'll go, we'll lose that order. And I'll say, well, you probably may want to lose the order because if an inspector catches them, then you're going to own it because the spec said selective coordination to meet the code. Now, what I try to help them understand is I tell them, look, I said, you can still stand your ground if you let the customer make the decision. Educate the customer and say, look, here is the quote per the code. Here is a selectively coordinated system as it's required by law in the National Electrical Code, as adopted where you're going to build this building. Or here is what probably everybody else is going to quote, which doesn't meet the code. It's a 0.1 second type of solution. It does consider no available fault current whatsoever. It's only overloads, and let them make the decision. Now you're clear. You have done two things. You have educated the customer so they make an educated decision on what they want.
Yeah.
And B, you have given them the keys. And if they say, well, I want the stuff that doesn't meet the code, then you get them to acknowledge that. And when David Engelbart is doing his plan review and says, wait a second, guys, this doesn't meet the code, you go back to the customer and go, all right, they red tagged it. Now it's going to cost you 30 grand to fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll be
Yeah.
willing to help you, and I'll do the change order for you. So,
Mhm.
but unless you have that ability to say, I know this is what the language says, and I know it's not what I agree with.
Mhm.
It's really hard. It's really hard to do something that is required by law that you don't agree with.
Yeah.
Well, it's only as hard as we make it, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's why I said, I don't need a driver's license to drive a car. I only need it when I get caught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and if we don't understand and educate those individuals, you can better prosecute an attorney well.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I
and
mean, we
that's,
don't do it for that reason, but that is the fact.
yeah, and unfortunately, I think that many designs, and I'll go always down to an electrician, will make decisions for our customer based on what we personally feel as opposed to what they want. Because if you educated a homeowner, or you educated somebody who is going to be the recipient of the benefit, then they may say, I'll pay more for that, and I'll pay you for that. I'm not going to have a problem with that. It may take you a little bit more time to do, right? It may be a little bit more hard work, but hey, it's it's a decision that unfortunately we make for our customers.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, Tom, sometimes it goes back to the mentality. Some people, unfortunately, have the mentality that I know better. I'm the expert, so you kind of follow what I'm telling you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
One issue, and I've seen this especially with I haven't worked in sales per se, but I was in product management, so I traveled with salespeople. Unfortunately, mentality versus the long-term mentality, just want a quick win, just kind of just make the sale or this opportunity, make the money, and then we're gone. But what you're talking about, Tom, is you're building a relationship, you're nurturing a relationship
Oh,
with your
yes.
customer, right? Because I mean, and this is what I believe. If I'm screwed by one person, it's not only one time. Like if someone screws me, it's only once, and I'm never going to trust them ever again, even if they're
Yeah.
telling me the right thing. I just can't trust them anymore, right? So this is the thing.
Yeah.
When you're building this relationship with your client or your customer, it's nurturing this relationship to the point that it's a trust thing. They know that when they have a question, the first thing they do, they will just pick up the phone and phone Thomas Dimitrovich because they trust Thomas, even if they're going with your competitor. Because oftentimes, and I know you've dealt with this, Tom, I did, someone would call you, ask you a question, and they end up using your competitor product, right?
Yeah.
Or give their business to somebody else, but they still trust you enough to get your opinion on this. So that's just my 2 cents.
Let me jump off what you just said. And Tom, I do have to jump off here in a couple minutes.
Okay.
So, yeah, what you just said. So if I was just a cold, hard, matter of fact, no, you can't have it. People want to fight me.
Mm-hmm.
But if I learn part of EQ is also empathy, which is, okay, tell me what you want. Tell me why you want it. Now let me tell you what you can have legally. And let's come, like Tom, you said, I loved what you said. Educate them rather than correct them.
Yeah.
Because if someone feels corrected by you, they are just going to go find someone else. But if they say, man, I would love to give you what you're asking for, But here's what could happen if I sign off on that. And I can't do it because I care about you. That's
Yeah.
empathy, which is part of EQ. Versus we've all met these cold people who are always right. They're always the smartest person in the room. They always talk, all they talk about is how right they are all the time, and we can't stand them.
Yeah.
But when someone comes across and says, tell me what you want again, what are we trying to do here? Let me help you succeed. That's where we bring emotional intelligence, but I have the courage to say, you know what? I know you want that. I can't give that to you.
Yeah.
Here's why. Yeah.
So by doing that, you've validated their feelings, right? You've validated.
Exactly. Exactly.
I like your approach. I like to read about psychology and emotional intelligence, like and in sales, like books like Dale Carnegie.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's very very powerful tool to ask the right questions and get them to answer. Just like Tom, what do you want to do? Like instead of telling Tom, this is what you are doing, and when it comes from Tom, I guess it's like you try to get small wins, small commitment along the way, because if people cannot retract, if they keep agreeing with you, yes, yeah, I want to have my design meet the law. I don't want to break any rules. I want to do this. I'm going to have a safe design. At the end, when you tell them, okay, this is how we should do it based on NEC or whatever the code is, they can retract because you got them committed all the way. So there's a trick in sales. Like I like to read about those things, and it's like
it's very intriguing. Leadership invokes followership. People want to follow a leader who shows them, I care about you, I value you, let's go forward. And that's what I love about what Tom and I have been talking about. Your world of rules for protection and the world of what people want and how to bring them together. So Tom and I have had some fascinating things. I wish I could stay longer, but I am moving tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So I have a few more things to wrap up. This has been great, and I wish I could stay on a lot longer, but we'll do this again, Tom. Invite me on another night.
We are going to do it, Vince, and we're going to do an evaluation. So you got to send me that link so I can fill out the forms and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that. That sounds great.
Very cool. Nice meeting all of you. Good talk.
Thank you.
Take care, Vince.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The move. Hopefully good through.
Yeah, have fun. So I also put a link out there to Barlow Girl, his kids, his 3 daughters did a really great job. They had a Christian rock band, and they were very popular. Very popular. So some good music.
You mentioned this during the video, and again, I apologize. I just didn't have a chance to watch the video, but now I have more reasons to go back and watch it.
There's 2 of them.
Okay, yeah, I'll get to 2. But I saw the one with Megan Hayes, but I couldn't finish it. Yeah. I don't know, maybe you already shared this. How did you get to know Vince? Did you guys meet? It's like he's like Pittsburgh area, like friend, neighbor?
Yes, he happened to marry a cousin of mine.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So Marianne is his wife, Marianne Dimitrovich, and she was the daughter of one of my uncle Butsy, who used to live next to us. So I grew up close to her, and I've known Vince for many years, and I did not know. So I met him, unfortunately, again recently. I saw him at a funeral from one of my cousins, and he was telling me about his book, and he and I would always talk about stuff like this, right? Because you deal with different types of personalities throughout your entire life, and I usually can get along with everybody. And there's every now and then you run across a person who you just rubs you the wrong way, or you rub them the wrong way, and you can't figure out what am I doing that is irritating, or what is it about this person that just irritates me. So we would always have these discussions, and he told me about his book, and I started reading through it, and I'm like, and as we were talking about it, I'm like, man, this is so in tune and resonates so well in an electrical safety discussion, right? And you did a paper on this topic, right, Nihad, for IEEE?
Human performance. Yeah, you know what? In fact, I was checking. It was published in the magazine a year ago in 2023. It was presented at East W with Mike Doherty and with culture. But to your point, Tom, because I always reminded me of like how people rub you the wrong way and all this kind of thing. I remember I like school and I hated it because they force you to memorize things. But then at a later stage of my career, uh, probably when I was doing my PhD, so after I moved to Saskatoon, this would have been maybe in around second half of like 2006, 7, around that time, maybe 7, 8, around that time. So I was doing my PhD, and then I came across, I attended one of those classes or presentations on Myers-Briggs. I don't know if anyone heard of Myers-Briggs, like personality type, and why people kind of, it kind of talks about how people get their energy from and how they make their decisions, the personality types and traits. Called Myers-Briggs. It was developed during the Second World War by the mother and her daughter, and they classify people like 4 different like introverted, extroverted, sensing, intuitive, feeling, thinking, or judging, perceiving. If you read more about on this topic, it's controversial. Some of the uh, I guess scholars think it's inaccurate. Back in the day, I guess they used it to tell you what kind of job based on different because you have like 16 different types. You get each letter, 4 letters, one for each emotional. Let's say introvert, extrovert, and so forth. And I was happy that it said when I took the test, I'm supposed to be an engineer. So it's kind of okay. I figured it out without even knowing about this test. But the interest, and again, there's some inaccuracies, and some people would say that, or scholars say that it's not accurate. You shouldn't base your career choice on this kind of test. But what it did to me, it kind of opened up my eyes to how people are different, because it describes, like an introverted person versus extroverted person. It's not necessarily how you like I'm an introverted person. I hate talking to people. No, it's just like how you get your energy. I'm an extroverted person, very high on extrovert. So my energy, I get it from people, from like
Right.
events, like right, being around people. So, but the things when I'm down, I flipped on introvert. And this is what happens if you're a very introverted person and you're sad or down. Maybe you end up going out, trying to party just to get out of your comfort zone, kind of thing.
Ah.
So if you're judging, perceiving, I'm very organized. My brother was the opposite, and I hated that everything was just like a mess in our room when we shared the room. So I guess my point is, without getting into too much detail, when I started reading about those things, it gave me an idea of understanding that we are different. Because when I was young, I always thought that people would do it. You have your standards, and I'll be doing it this way. And it used to drive me nuts when people would do something subpar to my standard or something. That why would someone take a shortcut, or why would someone do this? And then learning about different kind of personality and how different styles of education, like even learning how people learn. Like I think you mentioned that you're a visual person, you like to see things. Some people are more abstract, or maybe listen or read. So like learning about those differences between us helped me a lot to understand, and
Yeah.
even sometimes predict what person A would be reacting or doing. Like I'm not trying to be a psychologist, but it helps. I would recommend reading about different personalities, different traits, because if you're not dealing with your significant other or your boss or your colleague, and they're doing in a different way that how we do things, sometimes it helps to understand they come from, what kind of personality they have, and this
Mm-hmm.
would help you even deal with them. Because I made a mistake back when I was young. I was expecting people to do the things the way I would do them, but it's not true. We are different.
Yeah.
The way I
Yeah.
approach something is different than how Dave or Tom or Robert would approach it. Doesn't mean that there's a right or wrong. It just need to understand each other. And once I start understanding those differences, it helped me a lot. Even
Yeah.
dealing with people, I know that this person maybe is more emotional, so try to just list 10 different reasons. Logical, just don't. Logic is not their thing, right? Versus someone who's more logical, you can try. If you try to appeal to their emotional side, they won't even listen to you, right? They just need facts, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm talking extreme, right? But there is always, we're not like 0, 1 or digital
Yeah.
kind of people.
Yeah.
It's always like a spectrum or an area in between, right? It's just like you get me be more closer to an introvert versus extrovert, but no one is 100% introvert or 100% extrovert.
Yeah. And I think understanding that's important from an electrical safety perspective when you're on a job site and when you're planning things, you have to be able to work with people, and you have to have that ability to to communicate effectively and not emotionally, and take that disassociate yourself from somebody else who might be just the opposite, right? Because you've got to make good decisions with good information, else you're going to hurt somebody.
Absolutely.
You know?
Another important thing, another book I read that talks about, it's called Thrive. It's a very good book. I would recommend reading it. So the it's to that point, to your point, Tom. It's if you're in charge of, or managing a team or a crew or whatever, it's very important to understand how to motivate people, because what motivates me is very different than what motivates you or someone else. For example, some people are only motivated by money. So if you're a manager and you know that this person, if you give them a raise, they will do the job or stick with the job, I guess, well, this is how to motivate them. Other people, I would say, myself, for example, I'm more motivated by other things than money, like challenges, like having my autonomy is very important to me, and being able to do things on my own time pace. I'm not an office person, be like 5 to 8, 8 to 9, or 9 to 5 kind of person, or 8 to 5. So I'm willing. The way I think is, if you give me my autonomy, I'm willing to pay for this, because nothing is for free, right? So I want my autonomy. I want
Yeah.
autonomy to do things. But some people, they don't care. Just as long as you pay me more money. And this is what I kept telling people back in the day I was working for my previous employer, but they didn't listen. So I'm not going to ditch you. I'm going to leave you for someone else who's going to, the next guy will pay me 10, 20, $100 more a year. I don't care. As long as I'm happy with what I'm doing and I'm enjoying it, and you're giving me my autonomy, I'm going to stick here. But
Yeah.
those concepts are hard. That's my point. That it's not just money. Like, you can just motivate people. This job, and you're gonna give you more money. Sometimes people are motivated by just the challenge in the job,
Yeah.
or nurturing them. Maybe someone wants to be the next leader, so just try to help them to grow, because they
Right.
will be there, and they will. I would say they'll probably surprise you what they can do if you are able to motivate them the right way. Versus just the money is not the answer. And again, just don't get me wrong. And this part of the
Yep.
book, there's always a certain level, to be fair, to pay, so to take money off the table. Like, you can't underpay people. Like, you can't underpay them and say, you know what, I'm going to be nice to them. It's not going to work. So you have to pay them their fair share, and then so money is off the table. It's not the thing anymore. And some people are motivated by different things, and you need, if you're a leader, you need to
So,
understand.
but sometimes, yeah, but sometimes it's not necessarily a how do I, it's a how do you maintain and keep your workers, whether or your leadership. It doesn't matter if it's your employee. How do you keep that employee from leaving the organization and going somewhere else because they're not getting what they want or what they need? And sometimes that what they need is, to your point, not financial. They may say, "Look, I'm getting paid X. I can pay the bills. I can support my family. I'm putting my kids through college. Everything is fine there, but I'm not getting I'm not getting what I need emotionally from, or the satisfaction, to your point, on being a contributor, or maybe just like you say, I want to be in a leadership role. Not that I want more money for it, but I just want that leadership role to be an influencer and within my organization. And if you stifle it, if you don't help it grow, that person may leave the organization when they find that other position that gives them their financials and possibly fills that other void.
And I've seen this before. It's funny. Sometimes you kind of push people to take on leadership roles, and they don't have the skills or maybe the
Yeah.
interest, just because they've been there for long enough or whatever. And this is a big mistake, because what they end up doing is they probably make other people, I guess, their direct reports, or people that they're managing or leading in the organization, very unhappy, because they don't have the skills, maybe don't have the interest, and they end up being miserable and they leave. It's funny, but yeah,
Yeah.
maybe some leave because they got a promotion, but this is not the kind of career path I was interested in or I wanted. So it's
Yeah.
very, be very careful, because sometimes you think you're doing someone a favor by giving them a promotion, or putting them in a leadership position, but
Yeah. You're not.
want to be in those positions. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't want to. They their own thing and don't be bothered by others.
Yeah, and we're in an environment where our workforce, we need more people at the table. You don't want to lose people, right? So
Yep.
we need more electrical workers in the industry, whether they be pulling wire, putting in receptacles, managing a job site, or running a business. It doesn't matter. You need more people in our industry, in our trade, and you're not going to get that by pushing them away.
Yeah, and you need all skill sets. Like, I always use the sports team as an analogy. Not everyone is going to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I want to be a quarterback, but I don't have the skills of being a quarterback. I play basketball, so I'm not a point guard. I have other positions, but to have a successful organization, successful team, sports team, that matters. You need all
Amen. I love it.
Tom,
receivers.
What do you
the
think, Robert?
expression that says it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
It takes an organization to raise an electrician.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I like that.
I mean,
And-
all of us can have a share in it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. In the IAEI.
There you go.
If you just look at, like, I had a good discussion with Rudy and the crew today, just talking about how we get the message out to more people and and sustain the organization and things like that. And when you have an organization like that brings individuals together and gives them an opportunity to share their knowledge and shine. You think about it. You might have a person who's up on stage at an IEI meeting, or being a leader at the microphone and very well respected, who might go back to their job and doesn't get the same level of respect that they get when they're in that meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just very important.
In this area, what I'm trying to do is be proactive and reach down into the upcoming high school students and providing electrical programs. Maybe they can't work on a job, but they can learn, right?
Yeah.
And there's been programs in the schools where they can start in the 11th grade and take a semester and so forth. Then the 12th grade, by the time they get out, they've got 2 years of electrical trade theory or whatever under their belt, and working together and partnering with local electricians, electrical contractors, and things like that. Now the contractors watch the progress, and there's jobs waiting for them when they get out of high school. It's it's taken a while to get the wheels going, but why not start with the young people and get them interested, in the electrical trade?
Oh, no, I agree 100%. Absolutely. We need more people in the trade, that's for sure. Well, guys, what do you think? Call it a night?
Hour and a half. Time flies.
Time flies, yeah. So what's on the show? So what's on the agenda tomorrow? David, you should know this off the top of your head because you probably fixed my problems.
A quick question: Does Megan? Does she work with Tom Lichtenstein then or not?
No, she's not
From
with
UL?
UL. Tom Lichtenstein's UL. Megan is
was it?
NEMA.
Oh,
Megan
she's
is
NEMA. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yep. So ShockWeek. Oh wait, somebody's sharing something?
Yes, I'm sharing.
Oh, look at that. Look, and I can show it. There it is. Oh, God bless it, man.
Is that on that website,
hey,
David?
here's one from Yogi Bear.
Yeah.
Smarter than the average bear.
Does that mean I'm boo boo?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So
All right.
there's tomorrow's schedule. So I thought
Right. So we got state code adoption. I did that with Jerry O'Connor. He goes state by state. And, here's the thing. What Jerry does, and there are others like from NFPA and IAEI and others who go and fight the fight. And no one hears about it. No one's in the room recording it and all that jazz. So he's going to share. He shares a little bit about what the state code adoption is and all that good stuff, and some of the status of some of the states. We have the suicide prevention, that one.
Yeah.
And the ever-changing risk assessment. So both of those are with Wes Wheeler, and I'll tell you, those are. I enjoyed my time with Wes, and the suicide prevention one. I enjoyed talking about that, and there's some good resources. In fact, oh, it's upstairs. I took my iPad out of the thing, and I think I left it upstairs. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I forgot how I got to this, quite honestly. But there's links in there in this also.
Yeah, I threw
And
some.
then this is where this is a link to that Unshakable deal.
Yep.
It goes right to the Amazon deal, and it's $14.99 for that book.
Yeah, the book wasn't bad. I mean, and you know, I told Vince, I said, what I love about this is it's thin.
Yeah.
I love the fact that I can actually read through it. But what he does is he puts in there the self, like there's like homework in there, so it's really good in that regard. Yeah, so I tried to put some links in there as well, and I'll do that if I can add after the fact. I'll put more links into for that page.
Where is it, David? That page?
To go to thomasdimitrovich.com/ShockWeek 2024.
Where the heck did I go?
So Thomas Dimitrovich, I'll put it in the chat, .com/ShockWeek 2024, because I anticipate there will be a 2025 as well. So I just put the link in the chat box.
I'm just wondering if this chat will show up after for the on demand.
It will.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll show up, and I'll you know what I'll do too is I'll comment on the video to your point, just in case.
Yeah, because I got my cursor on electric codes and standards. That'll go right to the on demand deal.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
all these are all links.
Yeah. Sorry, Tom. When you
it goes right to that YouTube deal. So
just
there's a lot of links in this.
noted, when you posted, did you post here on Restream or YouTube? Because
He
I
posted
see that it's
to the YouTube.
Yeah.
To the
But
YouTube chat.
because your post, Dave, has the YouTube logo on it. Okay, now it's showing up here. But the post that was the bar logo. So I think it was only posted here. Didn't go to YouTube.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I put it up, but when I put it up, it sees my name, and then it sends it to my YouTube channel and not to that webpage.
Yeah, because the last post that you had here, it says Thomas Dimitrovich week 2024. There's two of them I can see. One says our stream, and the other one is YouTube with your picture and the YouTube logo. So I think this went to the YouTube. The previous post, it says host, and I think it went to YouTube. Like David Engelhardt, when he posted, he has his picture and the YouTube logo, so it tells me that it went to YouTube, not just here.
Yeah, I posted on YouTube. So, but when I posted on YouTube, it looks at my name, and when you click on it, it goes to my YouTube channel, not to my webpage.
So yeah, I clicked on the ShockWeek deal, and it pulled up this YouTube right here. So.
Oh yeah. So I'll show that one. Oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
Okay, that's no big deal. No big deal. Yeah. So, but if you go to thomasdimitrovich.com/ShockWeek 2024, all one word, that'll get to the schedule, Nihad. So,
and it's interesting. I wondering the link here in our stream, Restream, and it doesn't. I have to copy and paste. I don't know if it's just me or you guys as well. Any link on the side where we are here on Restream. I don't know. I have the hand, but when I click the hand, it doesn't open. I have to copy and paste, which is fine.
Yeah, so there's the link right there. I just
I posted it also. I went and copied and pasted right out of the bar, the web browser bar or whatnot. copied and pasted right out of that. So, and posted it in the, yeah, which HTTPS and all.
Right, right. That's interesting. Cool beans. All right, gentlemen.
Day 2 of 5.
Day 2 of 5. Day 2 of the second day of the hostage crisis. Tomorrow should be pretty fun. And I did my IEI News Live today on GFPE.
That was
That was a, there's so many places in the code, but I think it's really important to understand that whole fundamental of how it operates. And it's important to understand why it was put in. To understand, so I hope that came across well.
I had to leave just before it was over, so.
Yeah, don't worry. I used your name in vain afterwards.
No, you're supposed to speak it in hushed reverence. You got that backwards.
You know what? If I wore a hat, I would take it off when I said your name.
not to worry, Robert. It's available on demand. You can see it anytime, 24/7.
Yep.
That's right.
I'll be back. I'll be checking it over. So
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
back.
Well, that's beautiful. Gentlemen, thank you.
You bet. Tomorrow or Wednesday night or Thursday night again?
Yep, tomorrow night. What's today? Tuesday. So Wednesday night, I'll go out. I'm going to go and we're going to talk about the stuff that happened each night. So,
yeah. All right.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Take care, kids.
Hey,
Night.
see ya. Night.
Night, termite.
Let's see. You got to love it.